My wife wasn't where she said she was. A pizza receipt led me to my brother. That's how my marriage ended. I found out my wife was cheating on me because of a pizza receipt with my brother's name on it from a city she was never supposed to be in. I know how that sounds. If someone told me this a year ago, I'd think they were exaggerating for drama. But that little crumpled strip of paper, stuck to the bottom of a takeout box, blew my whole life apart. Back then, I still thought we were okay. Not perfect, but okay. Married 7 years, one little house, one aging golden retriever, the usual pile of bills on the kitchen counter. Her name's Emily. She taught 2nd grade, I worked in sales. We had our routines: Sunday pancakes, Thursday laundry, Friday takeout, and a movie if we weren't too tired. The night it started, I remember the weather more than anything. Heavy August heat, the kind that makes your shirt stick to your back just from walking to the car. I was coming home late after a long drive for work. I called Emily twice, no answer, but that wasn't unusual. Sometimes she fell asleep on the couch grading papers. When I turned onto our street, the first thing I noticed was that the house was dark. Not in watching TV in the living room dark. Full blackout. Porch light off, no glow from the windows. It was only a little after 9. I felt that first, tiny pinch in my chest. The one you try to ignore. I pulled into the driveway, grabbed my laptop bag, and walked up to the front door. Locked. I tried my key, stepped inside, and called out, "Em?" Silence. I clicked on the hallway light. The house looked normal. Keys in the bowl, her shoes by the door, half a mug of coffee on the table like she'd just stepped out for a second. I checked the bedroom, the bathroom, even the backyard. Nothing. I told myself she probably went out with her friend Jenna. They did that sometimes, last-minute drinks and catching up. Still, I took my phone out and texted her. "Hey, just got home. Everything okay?" The message showed as delivered, but no reply. I wandered back to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and that's when I saw the pizza box on the counter. It was from a place we never ordered from. Different logo, different colors, and our small town doesn't exactly have a booming pizza scene. I flipped the lid open. 2 slices left, cold and congealed. I almost closed it again, but something made me check the side of the box, where they sometimes stick the receipt. There it was, a narrow strip of paper half peeled off. The address at the top was from a city 2 hours away. The timestamp was 6:17 p.m. that same day, and under customer name clear as day E. Miller for Daniel. Daniel. My brother. For a second, my brain just refused to line up the facts. Emily. 2 hours away. Pizza for Daniel. On our counter. While she was not home. My phone buzzed in my hand. It was Emily. "Sorry, fell asleep. Just woke up. Everything okay?" I stared at the message, the dark house, and the receipt in my fingers, and I knew one thing with absolute, stomach-sinking certainty. Somebody was lying to me. I didn't answer her text right away. I just stood there in the kitchen, phone in one hand, receipt in the other, feeling like I'd walked into the wrong version of my own life. There was this weird, buzzing silence in my head, like the moment right after you almost get into a car accident. Emily was asleep, but a pizza from a city 2 hours away had somehow teleported onto our counter. For Daniel, I took a picture of the receipt. I don't know why, that was my first instinct. Like I needed proof in case reality tried to gaslight me later. Then I typed back, "Where are you?" She replied almost instantly. "In bed, why?" I actually laughed. Out loud. It sounded wrong in the empty house. I walked down the hallway to our bedroom. The door was open. The bed was made. Not a wrinkle on her side. My hands started shaking. I took a photo of the empty bed too. I don't know, maybe part of me already knew this was going to turn into something bigger than a simple "where were you?" argument. I went back to the kitchen, leaned against the counter, and stared at my phone. "You're not in bed, Em." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. I was in bed. I got up to grab some water. I looked at the pristine, dry kitchen sink. That was when something in me flipped. Not anger, not yet. Just this cold, focused feeling. Like ID stepped outside myself and was watching everything from a distance. Send me a picture. Another pause. Longer this time. A picture of what? Of you. Right now. A full minute went by. Then a photo came through. Emily, hair messy, lights off behind her, just a bedside lamp on. She was laying in bed. Except we don't have that lamp. The one in the picture was brass with a white, flared shade. Ours is black, modern, something we picked up at Target together. I remember because we argued about it in the aisle. I zoomed in. Behind her shoulder, barely visible, was a framed photo on the wall. It wasn't ours. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my jaw. I called her. She didn't answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I grabbed my keys, stormed out to the driveway, and sat in the car with the engine running, staring at my phone like it was going to confess. Then I did something I'll admit wasn't my proudest moment. I called my brother. He picked up on the second ring, a little out of breath. Hey man, everything okay? Where are you? I asked. There was the slightest pause. You wouldn't notice it if you weren't listening for it. But I was home. Why? I looked down at the receipt in my lap, at the timestamp, at the city name. Yeah, I said. You order pizza tonight? Daniel didn't answer right away. On the other end of the line, I heard this little shuffle, like Head put his hand over the receiver for half a second. Then his voice came back, a little too bright. Yeah, I ordered a pizza. Why? What place? I asked. Dude, I don't know, just some local place. He gave this short laugh. Why, you hungry or something? I looked down at the box in my passenger seat. I could see the logo through the greasy lid. What city? I said. Another pause. Longer this time. Man, what's with the 20 questions? I'm in my apartment. Ordered from a spot down the road. You okay? He was in our hometown, supposedly. 30 minutes from me. The receipt in my lap said otherwise. Yeah, I said slowly. Just curious. I could hear a TV in the background on his end. Some sports commentator droning. Then, faintly, like she was a room away but not far enough. A laugh. Soft, familiar, almost swallowed by the noise. If you live with someone long enough, you know their sounds. The way they clear their throat, the way their keys hit the table, the way they laugh when they're not thinking about it. Every hair on my arms stood up. Who's there? I asked. Huh? Daniel said. No one. TV's on. Another sound. Not a laugh this time. Just a voice saying something I couldn't quite make out. A woman's voice. Then a muffled thud, like a door closing. My mouth went dry. You sure? I pushed. Because it kinda sounds like... Dude, he cut in, sharper now. I said I'm home alone. You're acting weird. Everything good with you and Em? The way he said her name made my stomach twist. Yeah, I lied. Yeah, we're fine. Just tired from the drive. He exhaled. That exaggerated you're being dramatic kind of sigh I'd heard my whole life from him. Get some sleep, man. We'll catch up this weekend. Okay? Before I could answer, he hung up. I sat there in the driveway with the engine running, phone still at my ear, listening to the deadline. My reflection stared back at me in the dark windshield, eyes wide, like I was waiting for someone else to explain this. My wife was in bed. My brother was home alone, and I had their dinner sitting right next to me. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. It was a text from Emily. Sorry, my phone died for a bit. I'm at Jenna's. We're watching a movie. I told you earlier, remember? She hadn't. I scrolled up through our messages just to be sure. Nothing. No mention of Jenna. I looked from her text to the receipt, to the empty, dark house. Then I did the thing that changed everything. I typed back, fingers shaking. Okay. Send me a picture of you and Jenna together. The typing bubble appeared, then vanished. The typing bubble popped up, then disappeared. Popped up again. Vanished. If guilt had a loading bar, that was it. Finally, a text. OMG. You're being so weird tonight. We're in the middle of a movie. I look awful. I'm not taking a picture. I stared at that message for a long time. Jenna is a selfie addict. She once took a picture of a plate of nachos because, and I quote, the cheese looked photogenic. There was no universe where she'd pass on a chance to pose, bad lighting or not. So I did the one thing Emily clearly wasn't expecting. I called Jenna. She picked up on the first ring, voice loud like she had her phone on speaker. "Hey, what's up?" "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal even though my throat felt tight. "Sorry to bug you. You busy?" "Nah, just folding laundry and pretending it counts as exercise." "What's up?" "Laundry. Are you at home?" I asked. Yeah? Where else would I be on a Thursday night?" She laughed. My hands started to sweat around the phone. "So Emily's not with you?" I asked, keeping my voice as casual as I could. Silence. Just for a second. "Emily?" she repeated. "No, why? Is everything okay?" I closed my eyes. Yeah, I lied. Yeah, all good. I must have misunderstood. "Sorry, Jenna." She hesitated. "You sure? You sound off." "I'm fine. Talk later." I hung up before my voice could crack. A second later, Emily texted. "Babe, seriously, stop. You're killing the mood. Do you not trust me or something?" I actually felt something in my chest snap at that. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened the location sharing app we'd both set up a few years ago after she got a flat tire on the highway. Just in case, she'd said back then. Her location loaded. Not our town. Not Jenna's neighborhood. It was the same city printed on the pizza receipt. Same area. And as I zoomed in, my stomach dropped. The little blue dot that was my wife was sitting over an apartment complex on the east side of town. I took a screenshot. My heartbeat had moved from my chest to my ears. Everything in me was buzzing and numb at the same time. I wasn't guessing anymore. I wasn't being paranoid. The evidence was stacking itself like bricks. She was 2 hours away, in an apartment I didn't recognize, eating pizza for Daniel. I put the car in gear. For the first half mile, I told myself I just wanted to see, just to prove it to myself. Maybe there was some wild, insane explanation, and I'd feel stupid and guilty and we'd laugh about how crazy I'd been. But underneath that thin layer of denial, something colder was driving. I needed to know who she chose over me, and why my own brother's name was on that receipt. By the time I pulled into the apartment complex, my shirt was sticking to my back and my hands hurt from gripping the wheel. It was one of those newer places, clean sidewalks, 2 bright stairwell lights, little balconies with cheap patio furniture. I parked a few spots away and just sat there for a second, staring. Her car was there, and right beside it, like the universe wanted to leave no room for doubt, was my brother's. Same dent in the bumper from when he backed into a mailbox at my parents' place. Same crooked license plate. For a second, everything went quiet. No buzzing in my head, no pounding heartbeat. Just this still, frozen feeling. Like my body had decided, okay, we're done being surprised. I got out of the car. The night air felt heavier there. Like even the sky knew I was about to walk into something I couldn't unsee. I followed the map on my phone to the building, climbed the stairs, and stopped in front of the door her blue dot had been sitting on. Apartment 3B. There was a pizza box outside the door, leaned against the wall. Same logo. Same place. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough to hear what was on the other side. Laughter. 2 voices. Hers and his. Not guilty, whispery laughter. Comfortable. Familiar. The kind of laugh you share with someone when you've done this a lot. When being together like this isn't new. I raised my hand and knocked. The laughter cut off like someone hit mute. For a few seconds, there was nothing. Then footsteps. A shadow under the door. When it opened, everything I'd half hoped I was wrong about vanished. Emily stood there. Her hair was up in that messy knot she always wore around the house. She had on one of those oversized shirts she never wore in public. No makeup. Bare feet. Behind her, the apartment was lit warm and dim. On the coffee table, 2 plates, 2 glasses, and the remains of that same pizza. And on the couch, half standing like head just jumped up, was Daniel. We all froze. No one said anything. I watched it hit them in waves. The shock on their faces, the calculations in their eyes, the wild scramble for some version of this that didn't look as bad as it was. Emily spoke first. "What are you? How did you?" Her voice broke off. She glanced at Daniel, just for a second, but I saw it. That tiny, automatic look. Like they were a team. I held up my phone, my voice way calmer than I felt. "Your location sharing," I said. And the pizza place was kind enough to leave a receipt on our counter. No one laughed at that. Daniel took a step forward. "Listen, man, it's not what don't," I said. Just that one word. Came out low and sharp. He stopped. I looked at both of them. My wife, my brother, the two people I trusted most in the world standing in a doorway they never should have shared. "How long?" I asked. Emily swallowed. Her eyes were glossy, but there were no tears yet. "Please, can we talk about this inside?" She whispered. "How long?" I repeated. She stared at the floor. 6 months, she said finally. Maybe a little more. Something inside me went very, very quiet. I turned to Daniel. "You?" He couldn't look at me. "It just happened," he muttered. "We didn't mean to hurt you." I almost laughed again. That line. Like betrayal was a slippery floor they'd both accidentally fallen on. I nodded slowly, more to myself than to them. "Okay," I said. "Hey Race, what's going to happen?" "I'm going home." "You?" I looked at Emily. "Can pack a bag and come get the rest of your things when I'm not there. We will talk. With a lawyer." Her face crumpled. "Please don't do this like you already did," I said. "I'm just reacting." I turned to go. "Wait," Daniel said. "Can we just explain? You had 6 months to explain," I said without facing him. "And 100 chances not to start." I walked back down the stairs, past their 2 cars parked side by side, past the pizza box that had connected the dots faster than my own heart had. Driving home, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt emptied out, like someone had reached inside and unplugged something important. I kept thinking about the little things. The Thursdays she worked late. The weekends he needed space. The way they both started texting more and talking less. Looking back, it was all there. I just didn't want to see it. That night, I put the receipt, the screenshots, and the photo of their door into a folder on my computer. Evidence, I guess. Proof that I hadn't made this up. But erase the part one still think about. If that receipt had fallen off the box, if ID tossed it without looking, if Shed turned her location off just once, would I still be living in that lie? People always talk about betrayal like it's this single, explosive moment. For me, it was a slow, quiet drip that only turned into a flood because of one stupid piece of paper. A $14.99 pizza. That's what my marriage was worth in the end. I don't tell this story to make them villains or me a hero. I tell it because sometimes the smallest, dumbest thing can rip the curtain down and show you the truth you've been avoiding. And once you see it, you only get 2 choices. Pretend you didn't or walk away and start over, wondering how many signs you missed, and promising yourself that next time, you won't ignore the little things that don't add up.